Welcome, guys, to a new episode of Dummy Football Podcast. Here, joined with Jordan and Junior. Junior, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. One word to describe the semifinals.
Um, Beautiful.
Okay. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Good.
Or one word to describe the semifinals.
We're not so doing so good.
The expected.
Expected. That's a good word. Yep. Today we'll talk about the how the semifinals, how they went down. Talk a little bit about the game. We'll obviously analyze the final coming up this Sunday, right? Yeah, this Sunday
Yeah.
for the final, and then talk a little bit about some football news out there and some transfers as well. Um, all right, so let's talk about the first semifinal, Argentina Croatia. I thought this game was going to be a lot tighter than what it actually was, but um, the Croatian team just started very weak in defense very early on, very nervous, and it just seemed like Argentina just took chance of that. Um, as the game progressed after that first goal, it seemed like after the penalty, it seemed like Croatia were trying to get into the groove of things, playing a little bit better. But then that second goal, where it's a lapse in defense, and Julian Alvarez takes the ball and just kind of goes on a run, and just the ball happens to just land to him in front of goal, and he just makes that second goal. It feel like everything was over after that. Croatia weren't really able to play the way of style, and Argentina just made it difficult for them. So I'm gonna go with you first, Junior. What are your thoughts of this game?
I think Argentina played to Croatia's strengths. I think Argentina's the team or a type of like the way they're coached is that they'll play whatever will make you uncomfortable. So they kind of packed their whole midfield to what they did last game before that. They try to have as much midfielders in so they could try to slow down the pace of how they control the game.
Yeah,
So I feel like Argentina's that type of. I think they kind of like finally got what they're supposed to do. Like they're not so great at attacking, they're not so great at defending, but they're great at doing to weakening you. I think that's the best style so far. I mean, they have great talent in Messi, but as Van Gaal has said, like when they attack, there's 11. When they defend, it's 10. So they're playing to their strengths and their weaknesses, which is very smart.
yeah. Jordan, your thoughts on the game?
Uh, when they scored that penalty, Croatia were desperate, like you say, to get into the game. But I think what happened was they were so focused on going forward that they slipped up in defense and caused that Julian Alvarez goal, which is took a couple lucky bounces, but they still came to him and he netted it in. And I think that took them completely out of the game because now you're 2-0 down. Croatia could come back from that, but it's very rare for a team like Croatia that doesn't have that much attacking options. You saw that they only have one striker and the guy on the bench, and then they have left mids and right mids, but they don't really go that forward. So I think that ended up costing them. I think Scaloni was very smart in playing a 4-4-2, which I thought he was playing a 4-2-2 two two center attacking mids and two CDMs. But you see how they lined them up. They had center mids playing on the wings, and that helped them keep the right backs and left backs in check and not let them move forward from that position because they're very experienced, both of them, at being box to box. Messi scores that penalty, and then a beautiful assist, more of a beautiful display of dribbling through the side, taking on Gavardiol, who he was on him the whole way, but it just wasn't on top of the last kick. And Julian Alvarez gets another goal. It was a cool game to watch. Very looking forward to the final. You got to give it up to Croatia getting this far. And then I will see what they'll do with Modric, who hasn't announced if he's retiring or yet. But that's it.
Yeah, it was obviously after his last after this third place game, there'll be his last participation in the World Cup. Um, he got subbed off early and he was treated to a standing ovation, which I feel like he deserves and what he's done for football. But it was just a great moment to see them. And yeah, the Messi dribbling, the commentator was saying that like he was dancing with Gavirdol. And then they went to mention that like that's one of the situations where like as a coach you tell your defender there was nothing else you could do. Like you literally were on him, you didn't give him any space, but Messi is one of those players that just can get the even if you're on your best, he can just go up a level. And he was
Well, I think I agree with you, but also like there's always that those players that play on that line. He could have been riskier and try to go for the ball and try to get his foot in there, but that's also risky because you
yeah
could get a penalty. I mean,
yeah
there's still that option, but it's kind of smart you don't want to take it, being already two down.
yeah yeah.
So there's still that option to me. You know,
Well, yeah,
somebody
that's one of the things that the commentator was saying that like he
that's the
tried
only
not
thing.
to give a penalty and try to play cautious, but
Yeah, that's the only
at the
thing he
end,
had left to
yeah,
do because he was on him. He was like, it's not like he over like went like by him. He just got a space so he could pass the ball.
yeah,
That's what he did.
yeah. But overall, very entertaining, very fun game to watch. Um, I mean, it was entertaining in the way that like the attacking football, that counter-attacking football that Argentina showed, and just how the Croatia were fought to the end, but at the end they just wasn't enough for this Argentinian team.
Would you say these two games that Argentina played are like the top five games in this World Cup,
Against
counting
Netherlands
Netherlands
and
and then the
Croatia,
Croatia games?
more so the Netherlands game than the Croatia game, but yeah, they've been pretty much the best that we've seen from this Argentinian team.
Yeah, and it's like I think we alluded to this before that they went from last to like
Yeah,
gradually getting better.
yeah,
And I
def-
think like every other team that did so good in the first stage or the first round,
they
they
kind
like
of
slowly, yeah.
remember, except for France, which is what's the next game of Morocco versus France. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know if it was the the nerves, the stage, the pressure, the those bright lights that Morocco just started really sloppy in defense and allowed that France to get that one goal. And from there, you just felt like it was just an uphill battle because this Morocco team works best when when the opponent is trying to be expansive and try to be on the front foot. And there was a lot of chances for Morocco. They still had a good a good amount of chances. Obviously, that overhead kick, scissors kick, whatever you want to call it, from El Yamik that just hit the post. There was another one in the second half. I think it was the number 9 for their team had a good chance of getting a shot off, but he just maybe the announcers made a point that he was right-footed, so he was trying to get it on his right foot, but just he he took it with his left side, and at the end it was just a very weak shot. And then I think there was a header from a cross in from CH, and there was a header that just barely got off over the bar. But yeah, it was at the end they were very Morocco was trying to go for it, try to be very open, and that's basically how they got the second goal for that game. And
But I don't think it kind of. I think it alluded to the thing that also that a lot of other teams that played them didn't really use their fullbacks, and I think France did that. I think they used their fullbacks to attack, to have more people in attack. I don't think Spain had did that much, and when they did, they got into like good chances. I think they just didn't have a good striker. They had a good striker. I think we're in the Cinderella story by Morocco.
yeah, but
You
I
know,
think another point was that he went with a he switched it up from a four what they've been playing, which a 4-5-1 to a 5-4-1, and it just I think when you're going as good as a midfielder like Shumini, Um, you need as much presence as you need in that midfielder. So I think that was another mistake. Trying to. I don't know if he did it because he was just you know, trying to play against the France strengths. But I think if something's been working so well for you, I think you just keep betting on what has taken you this far, in the tournament, and not to change
Yeah,
it. But okay, I'm I'm gonna give it off to you, Jordan. What's your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, them switching to five defenders. I think the plan was to have the wingbacks go up, like you said, Junior, but it doesn't really give you that much freedom to go up, especially when they get scored on in the fourth minute. So now you have to defend, really defend, and now your wingbacks are left to guard Mbappe, Teo Hernandez, Dembele. Was Pavard playing?
No, it was Kunde.
Kunde. So now, like, you're left in a bad position. I think laying up that one goal, which was a very lucky goal by Teo Hernandez, to get it that from that wide and put it down. I think Bono kind of he thought he would kick it up, so I think that Bono kind of went with his gut of just oh he's gonna go up instead of reacting. I think he premeditated that he was gonna shoot it high, so he went high, but didn't expect him to go down. And I think well, if you're a goalie in that situation, you gotta leave it up to your reaction. You can't just be like, oh it's too high, so he's gonna kick it up. It's like you should know that France are pretty good on their feet, especially shooting.
I think
But
he
I guess
waited.
I guess it's because he's a left back too, so you don't really expect the left back to have that kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I think also when I saw it, I think he waited for like he's waiting like what you're gonna do, so I could react to it instead of like going and attacking the ball. I think when you see him, he kind of stood there and then like he kicked it, and that's when he's trying to react, and it was already too late. I think he could have done a little bit more on that. Like it was a good shot, but maybe he could have blocked it.
yeah,
And then the second goal, Kolo Mawani getting a very lucky bounce
yeah,
from a shot from Mbappe. So I think that game should have probably ended 1-0. I think the 2-0 is giving France too much. They really struggled. Morocco had a bunch of shots on them. Uh, if anything, this showed that their defense is still the big problem for France. I think this game showed, especially how much shots Morocco are getting. And not to say Morocco are bad at attacking, but if they have different caliber of players, I think that's a completely different game.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. There's something else you wanted to add?
Just excited to see France against Argentina a rematch.
Yeah. Um, I did want to couple talk about two shouts where the Morocco team were thought they deserved the penalty. Wanted to get your guys' take. We'll talk about the first one, which was uh, um,
The Hernandez one,
yeah, a slide of Teo Hernandez against
which
Bufal. I think it's number 17, Bufal.
Yes.
yeah,
And
which was funny because he had done this the previous game. That's also how like he bumped into a player and it was his fault. But since he looked like he was injured, like the ref gave it the other way.
right,
I don't know if you remember that.
yeah, yeah.
In the full replay, does he when he kicks the ball, is he kicking it like to have another touch?
You
Yeah,
talking about Bufal?
No, Teo Hernandez, because he kicks the ball right,
Yeah.
and then they run into shin on shin, right? Did he kick it to like clear it, or kicked it to like pass it to someone, or like take an extra touch?
Well, I don't think Hernandez touches the ball at all. I think Bufal touches the ball away from him, and then that's when there's a clash between and shin guards.
Yeah, but the ball touches him, right? Because it in the replay when
before
Bufal's
or after?
running, the ball hits him, and then he kicks it. It just hits him, deflects, and then they both hit their shins together.
I gotta. I would have to look at it again. I don't remember.
Well, from what I remember, I saw that, and I think you could see it going either way. That call, especially because if what I'm saying happened where he kicks it or he touches it and his foot is in a motion of shooting, you could say the attacker put his leg in the way, so that's why it's a foul. You know what I mean? Like he hit him right when he's in a motion that he can't change, which is a kicking motion. But at the same time, Teo Hernandez, the ref should have studied that Teo Hernandez has been getting a lot of fouls, has been like hitting players. I think VAR really failed Morocco in that instance because if they would have probably checked that, I think that's a penalty.
What about you, Junior? What are your thoughts about that action?
I think, like Jordan said, like it's one of those half and halves. Like you really have to go to like study the actual play. So it would have been better if they would have gone to VAR and the referee actually took a decision because he never really went to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the camera angle that's available, it's a very dodgy
Yeah,
angle because it's behind the goal, so you can't really see that well from that other angle from over here or the angle from here, which is a very crucial angle where you could see who is initiating the impact.
yeah,
yeah, that's another thing. The camera angles, they'll just play one and then be like, oh, that's it.
yeah,
And they don't actually show you the VAR one when they take like, 6 or 8 different camera angles. They
yeah,
have cameras all over the stadium. So
yeah. And then the second action was just it was a Shumeni on and then on El Yamik, I believe that it felt like he had dragged him down or pushed him down. I'll go with you first, Junior. What are your thoughts about that action?
well, I feel like he was already trying to go down, but I've like it's the same thing. Like there should be no grabbing on players.
Hmm.
That still happens. You see it all the time. So and they were very inconsistent with the way they were calling it. So I don't think they've called any this tournament, but they have in other previous tournaments. I think in the Champions League, it was very common that if you were pulling on a shirt, they would give a penalty.
Right.
So I feel like it was very inconsistent for them to like even take a decision on this. But yeah, like I've said, like you shouldn't be holding on a player like that, especially on a shirt.
So for you, it was a penalty or no penalty?
Well, no, because I feel like he was going down like before he even like tried to do anything. Like he was grabbing him, but if he didn't do the motion of actually going down before, then I think I would have not given a penalty.
Okay. Jordan, your thoughts?
It's that's from a corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never taken a corner.
It's hard because if the refs had the actual VAR, if they used it, I don't know, probably only used it a handful of times. If they used it, I think they would have called that a penalty, even if who was it falling?
I think it was El Yamik.
El Yamik. Even if El Yamik is like initiating the contact, I think you could say that yeah, he is grabbing him pretty rough. But it's also the thing where because they don't go to VAR and VAR doesn't check the ref focused on the ball crossing, and as soon as the ball crosses, I think he missed that in that action. Maybe if the ball goes directly to them, maybe he could have called it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you see the ball coming in, then you see the guy fall, and you're like, okay, penalty. That's it's more common to see that in the Champions League, especially because you're taking him out of the play. But if they weren't in the play, then you could say, oh, they weren't even going to make a play on the ball, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't even be a foul. And he was already falling, so I probably wouldn't have given that as a penalty if I was a ref, because as Junior says, you are falling down, and the ref should be looking at that, and they shouldn't be looking at the ball, because that's what the corner flag ref is there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I agree with both of you guys that like it could have gone either way. I would have just liked for the referee or VAR to just call over the referee like, hey, there was an incident. I don't know if you picked it up. If you want to take a double look, just take a
And
look
for
at
what I
this.
know, that's what they do. Is just like, and they like, because I think it's 3 of them inside the VAR, so
Yeah.
they all take like a unanimous vote. If it's 2 against 1, whatever it is like, oh, take a look, and then the guy's like, no, I saw it. Or they'll be like, no, I saw it up close. It's not, or whatever he says.
yeah,
So I
because
wish it were more
there's
like
three refs and the guy that controls the camera, right? He's the one that controls how they move the camera.
he controls what shots he's getting. Like, so he'll be like, "Oh, give me the shot behind the ball or whatever," and then he
Yeah.
put that shot, whatever
Yeah.
whatever
I don't
restrictions.
Yeah.
know. Maybe Qatar doesn't like VAR. Maybe they don't like VAR because they really is never used.
Yeah, they
The
have it
only time I
hasn't
can
been used.
remember is the Japan versus Spain.
Yeah.
Where the ball was out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
where if the ball is out or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like they said, it had technology on the ball, so it's very hard to disagree with, especially when they're drawn. And it's like that does specify how this is drawn, like if it was the technology behind it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's because it's still crazy. I get it. It's like it's right on that dot on the line, but to me the field is right before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the end. Like that's just telling me, oh, this is where the end starts.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just to be like a rule. Like, what's the rule? So there's no more this confusion shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if the refs were more vocal, would be better if you could
Yeah,
listen
like
into what they
American.
were saying. They said that they were thinking of doing that because they used to do it on the XFL and the company owned by Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And they used to have the mics there so you could listen to him tell him, oh, switch the angle, put this angle.
Well, I
And I
mean,
think if the refs were more vocal, if they showed you like how they look at the thing when it goes to VAR, because it's crazy that they haven't used VAR, especially because that France versus England game had a lot of inconsistencies. The Argentina versus Holanda game, I had a lot of yellow cards where you're like, ref, you gotta do something.
Mhm.
You can't
they were
just,
going at each other for
Well,
the
it just
whole
keeps the
game.
ref keeps all the refs accountable. Like I know the A League has done it where like there's mics on
yeah.
the race and they televise what they're talking about. So
Yeah. Well, I
it
think
just
that might
keeps
have
it
been
more.
a testing ground for them because a lot of like these leagues are testing grounds for when they actually do it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
also tested in Netherlands for the younger leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So what? Let's go ahead and talk about the final preview. Obviously Argentina versus France. Um,
Who predicted that?
Argentina. I don't know who predicted that.
Yo, boy, who else?
Obviously, I know, dog. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I know.
Junior was the
It's
only
the
one that predicted the final correct. Um, Argentina trying to get revenge on France for that 2018 um, game. Um,
and Messi, the only sole survivor from the starting lineup,
yeah,
because
so
I
it's
think all the other players, Tagliafico, that's there.
yeah,
Otamendi, isn't
yeah. I think Otamendi was
Yep.
playing there,
So yeah,
but
it?
a
starting
Damn,
lineup.
have
whole
some respect.
a whole different team
They didn't play
that
him.
France gonna be facing up, and a whole different team that France is gonna be presenting
Yeah,
against
the
this
Catalyst team.
Argentina team, and then two defenders that just recently became ill. I don't know if they'll be ready for the World Cup, but
That's
Varane
well, I think it
and
was seven
Konate.
players. No,
Well, it was from what I heard, it was Varane and Konate, and then there was Rabiot and who was the other midfielder? I can't remember his name.
Look it up, Junior.
I'm looking it up.
It was them four that were out because of illness.
I mean, you could talk about something else while
But
I look at.
yeah, yeah, those are the four names that those are two names that France have put out that are down are out because of illness. Uh,
Well, they are the
Mhm.
starter. That's why they put them out. That they were down.
yeah, there might have been other players, but yeah, because of their
Maybe
Yeah,
starters.
they
from what
call
I
it
remember, it
Benzema.
was seven.
No, I don't think so. But
Oh,
really
well,
interesting to see.
Benzema is gonna be there, right, Calvin?
Yeah, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be able to. He's asked Real Madrid permission to travel back to Qatar, so he could watch the final with his teammates. And the
Yeah,
and the
support
club
him.
and the club have allowed him to do so. Um,
Yeah, but there's no way he's gonna play, right?
no, he's not
Okay,
gonna
so
play.
yeah, it's Andre Rabot, Upamecano, Kingsley Coman as well. Those other three names. So it's five.
Yeah, five. So yeah, just players coming ill before the World Cup. But yeah, there's pretty much I feel like France is gonna be the one to try to try to keep possession of the ball.
Well, here's a question for you: who's the underdog in this matchup?
I think Argentina is the underdog
Think so, but I mean, like, and
because
what?
because I don't know. I just think they're the reigning World Cup champions, and they have Mbappe in that team. And I think with what they've been showing recently, I just feel like they're the they're the ones with the most to prove. This Argentina comes with from how you said from least to most from this tournament. A lot of people, a lot of journalists were already like putting this Argentina team out that they weren't good enough, and you know they've been able to show that they're great when it comes to when they play against the opposition. Trying to play with their best edge, which is trying to defend really well and then attack you when they have opportunities. So I feel like this Argentina's team is the underdog.
Because I was just saying that because of the environment in the World Cup, like everybody's saying how there's so many Argentines. Like I feel like Buenos Aires is just like that environment. I think it's gonna be a hostile environment for France.
Yeah, I think there's
I think
definitely.
Argentina's gonna have the most fans. So to me, I think Argentina's the lying underdog, if that could be the better word. Like they roster wise, they're the underdog just because of the names they have. Like some people are playing still
Well, yeah.
in lesser teams, and you have the Bayerns, the
You could
Inter.
be an underdog and play a home game, dude.
What?
You could be an underdog and play a home game.
Yeah, that's basically that's
But
basically
that's
what
what I
it
mean.
is. I
Like
mean,
with
they're
the
gonna.
environment, an environment changes everything.
I don't think so because I mean even against Croatia, that's what they were doing. They were just defending really well and attacking and counterattack. And then
What do you
once
mean?
they were in attack, the Argentina supporters were able to like really like put pressure on the Croatian defense and on the players and kind of like help the team, help the players.
So what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
What
What
do
I
you mean by
mean?
that? What you mean, you people? What I
Kali's saying that it's a big strain for them. Because it is Messi's last World Cup, so I could understand why there's more
But he's
Argentinians.
trying to make an argument for Croatia. Like I
No, no,
don't
I'm
think
not. I'm not making an argument for
No.
Croatia. I'm just making an argument that that Argentina are the underdogs and the and that you know um
that's what I mean. Like roster wise, their team is underdogs just because it's where they play. But I'm saying like when the environment comes in, like there's gonna be a lot of Argentina.
Well,
well
Calvin was saying
well
that
yeah that
they're an underdog, but the fans help them to level
yeah I
up.
was
That's
gonna
what he
say
was
that
saying with the
because
Croatians. That's all he was saying.
what I'm taking from what you're saying right is that the environment is gonna take a big place and because of the supporters the amount of supporters that are gonna
So you
be
were
there.
showing an example.
Let me finish what I'm gonna say. I'm saying
You
that
had
like
already said it.
what I took away from you were saying it was just saying that like because of the amount of Argentinian people that are gonna be there that the Argentinian team is gonna try to be like the team on the front foot and try to attack and stuff like that. Be the team that
No,
presume them. That's what I thought you were saying, but I was gonna say
no.
that because of that they're gonna try to take the the role of like the the
Because they let Croatia. They have the ball.
and that's what I was saying that that's what I was gonna argue against. That they showed against Croatia. They had the most supporters there, but they were still defending. They were giving Croatia the ball, and they were happy to sit back, take the pressure, and then attack them, and the counterattack.
Yeah, just some regular Chelsea Stamford Bridge football.
Oh my God! Not everything has to go back to Chelsea.
It has to.
But I wanted to answer your question about who's the underdog, and I guess you could say by looking at the game record, Argentina are the underdogs. But then you look at the style of wins in the past two games, and France has really struggled. And I think they're coming in with less pressure, especially from the fans, because they are going back to back. But like you said, there's not that much fans there to pressure them. but Argentina have the most pressure because it's Messi's last World Cup. So I
Hmm.
think that adds to it. And like I don't think underdog. If you have a lot of fans, I don't think it should count as oh you're not an underdog. I think you're an underdog on your team. I think the fans just help alleviate that stress sometimes. Like you said, when they play Croatia, and the fans were booing them or getting on their nerves, so they struggled. Like you said, Calvin. So I think the fans is a separate thing from an underdog conversation. I think the underdog is based up purely on your team.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Brazil, Germany, who was the underdog in that game?
Well, that was
But who
that
was the underdog in that game?
that was Germany. That Germany
Yeah,
was
but who
the
was underdog?
Germany was the
Team
under
wise, team wise,
Germany was the underdog.
and they slaughtered them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
but that that
That's what I'm saying.
team
I
but
wise,
think the
that's
fans don't
like
really
Brazil
do
was
that
so
much.
much
It's,
over.
that had other situations that like weren't because of the team. Like Marquinhos was out and Neymar were out, and Marquinhos without Marquinhos in that defense, that just like the leadership
Well,
and the.
what I would argue that without Thiago Silva in the team.
I mean, yeah, it was Thiago Silva. My bad, I said Marquinhos. Yeah,
Yeah,
Thiago Silva was out, and Neymar.
yeah.
So that was like the leadership, the backbone of that defense, and then a leader like Neymar and a special player like Neymar. So I think that had other things that weren't involved, that weren't like outside of just regular football things. But I feel like this is gonna be different because I feel like Argentina have been in this position before with the Copa America, especially because they were playing in Brazil against Brazil. And um, you just shared that Messi speech from the Copa America, and I just feel like this is different for Argentina. They're gonna do what they've been doing recently, is defend well and try to attack them when they have spaces open, and they're gonna try to allow France to have the ball and just soak up the pressure. My interesting battle is gonna see how Nahuel Molina deals with Mbappe, because I think that's gonna be an interesting battle
Matchup.
between those two players.
I feel like if they focus on one player, they're gonna lose the game. I think that's a little bit what happened to Morocco,
Yeah.
and what a little bit to happen to who did they play that before that? England.
England.
Mm.
I think they're worried about something that doesn't necessarily like Mbappe will create and he will score goals, but the team has been run by Griezmann. I think that's their biggest threat. If you neutralize Griezmann, it's the same with Spain. Like I remember, like they were always like, "Oh, how we're gonna, this tiki taka and worrying about three players," and when they just needed to shut down Sergio Busquets, and then
Yeah.
that was it. If you can't build from what the guy from the back can't build to the guys, the other ones that are controlling it, then where's your how you gonna how they're
Yeah.
gonna control the game. So if they neutralize Griezmann, I think that's what I would focus myself, and I think where they're gonna do, because that's what they've been doing, neutralizing playing to their strengths
Yeah.
and to their opponent's weaknesses. I think that's to look at for me in the midfield again. If he's gonna
So,
play a McAllister, Leandro Paredes, or
Yeah.
or if they're
so
gonna play
Calvin,
a Di
who
Maria.
do you think is gonna win?
If you say Germany, I'm gonna walk out.
Um. I don't know.
Our dad said that France was gonna win.
I feel like
What did my mom say?
I'll ask her the day of the game because we know every time I ask her who's gonna win, she gets it right.
Pues el Messi. Ya tiene
She's
que
gotten
ganar
it
uno.
right in every game, dude. Every time I ask her who's gonna win, she always gets it right.
I'm telling you,
I
she's
don't
gonna
know. I feel
win.
like
Except the
my
Super Bowl
heart,
game.
my
I
heart,
agree.
my heart wants to say Messi, because I just want to see Messi lift the World Cup. Just because I don't think it's a word that like I don't think he deserves it, because deserving is a lot of players deserve things, but they didn't get it. But it would be beautiful to
Pity.
see be Messi, see his last World Cup, lift the team with lift the lift the World Cup with this team and this group of players. But I'm just how you said it. France have a lot of weapons up top, and that's what worries me. You know, if uh, if if you worry too much about Griezmann, Mbappe can damage you. If you worry too much about Mbappe, you know maybe the Mbele shows up, and it's especially that midfielder Shumeni, like they tried to stop him, but he was upset like a younger version of Kante in that midfield. You know, maybe not
Where
to the
does Chouameni play?
I think he plays for like
Real Valladolid, I think.
I think yeah.
I think it's the worst team in Madrid, isn't it?
No, I think it's
Probably after Getafe.
I think he plays for Rayo Vallecano.
So who do you think is gonna win?
You still didn't answer.
I'm gonna
Quick
go
answer, bro.
I'm gonna go Argentina. I'm gonna stick with my
What
choice.
about you, Junior?
You freaking jinxed Argentina, Carlos. I think Argentina. I was just mentioning that because like everybody kind of seems to like France is gonna roll over Argentina or something. Like, it's like I think it's about like and especially
Well,
finals
We
usually
talk
are
about it.
very like cagey.
We all talked about it before the World Cup on when we were analyzing every team. You know, some of these moments just comes to individuals. You know, like Götze and against Argentina. You know, it just comes to individuals players that in a while. You know,
Individuals that could do it and individuals that didn't because you remember Rodrigo Palacio had a chance.
well, yeah,
Higuain had a chance.
yeah.
Higuain
And that's
that
and
should have been a
well
penalty.
even though the it came down to individual moments of like you know
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's individuals doing it or not doing it.
yeah
So it's gonna be,
yeah
it's not just whoever does it;
because
it's whoever like is making that error, and it's gonna live for a long time.
yeah. Jordan, your prediction?
I think I know we don't have to say this, but I think we could all agree that you could see this game going either way.
Yeah,
Like there's not a definitive
Well, yeah, it's like
thing where you could see that one of them wins. I'm talking, so stop interrupting me, please.
I thought you were sick, you jerk.
I am sick. That's why I'm being an ass. I was gonna say that
you're an ass regardless.
when I look at my heart, and I could only go by what my heart and my brain says.
Surgery or what?
Yeah, let him
What my
finish.
heart
Let
and
him
my brain
finish.
says. Every time I think about Argentina and I think about France, I think France has been getting lucky calls, very lucky calls, especially against that England team. And in past situations, I feel like the defense has been their biggest problem. And I know they have Chouameni and Rabiot, but Rabiot's going to be missing. And I don't know if Chouameni could do it by himself. And I don't know if the guy who's going to replace him, like you said, Konate, is another guy that's going to be doubtful. I don't know if the French team, the players are going to come back up and do it, or like how you said that. It's the individuals, but I think the individual is set up by the team. That goal doesn't get scored on if he doesn't get that amazing pass. And I think it comes down to team, and I think France hasn't really been like a team. There hasn't been like a play where like the whole team engages on something and they score. I feel like it's been more of a like 4 players doing the play, 3 players doing the play. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like they're all engaged the way I see Argentina, and chemistry is an important part in real life and in FIFA. The game, but it's a real important part that can't be measured, and you know when you see it. And after that Croatia game, you see the Argentina, and you saw how France celebrated the games, and you could tell who this means to more. And I'm not saying that Messi deserves it, but Messi has worked hard for it. I think you could claim every player is deserving, but I think it comes down to working hard for it and getting a lucky or getting the chances. But at the end of the day, like I said, you can see it going either way. But every time I think about the game, I mostly see Argentina winning it. I don't really see where France could win it. Maybe if Mbappe out of nowhere scores like 2 goals, or he comes back because he has been really quiet lately, as of late.
Can I make a hot take?
Go ahead.
I think this France team is gonna implode if they don't change, if they don't check their egos.
Ooh. Oh, because you were talking about that. They were talking a little too much
Well,
prior to the
no,
World Cup.
it's not even that, but I just feel like it's a regular France team. They're very arrogant. They talk before even things happen.
Yeah.
I just Mbappe. I like the way they've been talking about Mbappe, what he's, what he's doing behind. Like it's this fake facade of like, he cares about, you know. I mean, it's not fake that he does care about his image and what he does and what he doesn't do. But I feel like it's all just selfishly. It's not just for the betterment of people, which is that's what you do good things for.
Hmm.
It's like he's doing business moves, not real moves, not
Not
like human
genuine,
moves.
yeah, not humanitarian moves, yeah. So I don't know if it'll eventually bite them if it keeps going this way. I don't know. And also the way that Rabiot has been playing is I'm surprising because he's has been one of the most selfish players, and now all of a sudden he's like checking back and doing like things for other players. It's like this. I don't know. It might be Deschamps. He might have been
Maybe.
the mastermind of this whole thing. Because
Well,
honestly, like I never saw this team. Like I thought they were gonna crash out earlier than they made it. Even though I had them in the final, I just thought like talent wise they're final worthy, but when they look at their personalities and all this, especially when they had Benzema there, I think Benzema threw a wrench in my scheme. If
it
Benzema would have
definitely
been
did.
there, they would have been out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you heard the leaks as soon as when Benzema was out, that people were saying that like they didn't even know why Benzema was called back. That I think it was like three players they said that they didn't know why Benzema was called back. That he just harmed the group and stuff like that. So you can probably see the improvement from that Euros team to this team now because of that. But um, all right. Uh, everybody said who they thought they were gonna win, right? Already
Yeah.
predicted.
Yeah.
Here's the prediction. Okay. All right. Yeah. So a couple of news that came out. Sergio Busquets announcing his retirement from international football. One of the greats. One of the three to form that great three midfielder three with Xavi and Iniesta. I think a lot of people maybe underestimate his importance to that team or undersee it. That how big of an influence or how important Busquets was for that team. To have a player in him in that team, a player like him in that team, especially Pep bringing him from the from the B side to up to the to the main team to feed that role. So if you guys want to say a couple of things about this player or whatever, that's fine. I'll start with you, Junior.
I think he'll still remain underrated. He'll be those like cold heroes in Barcelona and in Spain,
Mm.
but around the world he'll still be. It's kind of like a Michael Ballack. I love Michael Ballack as a German player, but like I think in Germany he's underrated, not to the Kroos or the Schweinsteigers because it's just he never got that, and I just feel like it's the same with Busquets, even though it's not that he didn't win because I think he won everything in club football and in European football.
International.
It's just that
Except Europa League.
we're gonna go get it.
That's the only thing you need.
Yeah, imagine he wins it. That's it.
Or
Retires.
the Conference League.
No one was winning it. But yeah,
Um,
like it's just I think his body of work speaks more than is what he actually speaks because he's very silent. Very.
Yeah,
I don't know
very
if you
quiet.
ever Have you guys heard him talk?
Yeah, he's very, very like quiet.
Yeah, it's very quiet. Yeah, it's like very like well, they have like these jokes in Spain about los gallegos that they're very dumb. So he's very like kind of this stereotype that he's very oblivious to everything else. But like that's very common that how they compare him to.
Yeah, Jordan.
It's every time I've seen him play, I've watched a couple highlights of him. I think he's probably, like Junior says, very underrated, especially around the world. But if you look at him, if you watch his highlights, and I know they're just highlights, but he was amazing at getting out of tight spaces, getting off the pressure, playing amazing long balls. He was everything he wanted in a deep lying playmaker. And even that, he would still defend. He still defended you very well. And even though he was very skinny, his frame of body helped him gain headers from players and helped him level you out of positioning because he is taller, so he had to like push you down with his shoulder, and that puts you in a comfortable position. But I think people should study him more and how to play that CDM position. I think he should have probably been given more credit for the World Cup for everything Barcelona did, and he stepped up when Rafa Marquez left, which was a big deal. But I always wanted him to join one of my teams. I have a lot of love for him because he does the work that no one sees unless you watch the game.
Yeah, unless you're following him, you actually can you actually miss what he actually is brings to the team and why he's so important. Um, I just wanted to um, piggyback something that you commented. I think it was Sami Khedira or Xavi Alonso. I don't remember who it was exactly, but they had made a note that like when you get the ball because you don't think he's fast and you have like you're rushing at him like you feel like you trapped him and somehow he gets away from you, and that just
Yeah, it
speaks
was
to
Adrian.
like how he's able to maneuver and get the ball. Never known for his speed, but he was able to move past you very quickly, and you were like, "What the hell? How does he keep getting away? He can't keep getting away with it."
In his younger years, you would notice the speed, especially in Barcelona games when they would attack you. You would notice him because as soon as he passed the ball to the right back, he would make a sprint forward and get in a good position, allowing Xavi and Iniesta to move even more up forward. So he was a big part of that team
Yeah,
that won
surely,
six
surely
titles.
gonna be missed and remembered for the great player that he was. Off to Portugal, where they just announced that Fernando Santos will be leaving the spot. Been rumors that Jose Mourinho, the federation would be open to bring in Jose Mourinho, and that they'd be willing to let him keep the club job and the national team. I just want to hear what you guys think from the dismissal of Fernando Santos and the rumored appointment from through Jose Mourinho.
Double good. I've always wanted this to happen in real life. Like it always happens in FIFA. Like you have a team and then you have a national team. I was
Yeah,
like, finally, because I think the only other I remember instance that I remember a coach managing two teams was Hugo Sanchez, and he was managing the Olympic team and then the main team. But that was a disaster for him.
yeah,
But I feel like this is more because like you have little time to actually get them to play a certain ways,
yeah,
especially we haven't been with them. But I think this will be different for somebody, especially the ways he sees football. I think he's capable of making two spaces for these, but I feel like it would have to be like I have to. He would have to get like a really good assistant coach that is gonna be overseeing, the national thing. I think he's gonna be focused on club football, and then because I don't think Roma is gonna let him go, especially with the season he's having.
yeah,
To just be like, oh yeah, do this. So I think it would have to be a special type of contract that they're gonna have to fix
yeah.
for this to happen. But I'm open to it.
Jordan.
This is a very biased take. The Fernando Santos, I think when Cristiano Ronaldo came back in the Euros, the 2016 Euros, and he made it like he was coaching the team, I think that discredited Fernando Santos a lot. You know what I mean? Like the image of Cristiano Ronaldo out there ordering players. you know, and Fernando Santos right next to him, and I feel like that made people be like, "Oh, look, Cristiano Ronaldo was there," and that's when they won or they scored the goal with that there. I think I think he has always had that kind of. He has to prove that he's a good coach. You know what I mean? Like he has a chip on his shoulder because he does have Cristiano Ronaldo, and they're all a lot of talented players. And I think this could let him to go into a club football. Would be interesting to see him. I would love to see more of him. Maybe in the top five leagues. That would be fun, or Portuguese league, especially with Jorge Jesus being linked to Brazil. That could be a possibility to go to Benfica.
Or
Yeah,
Wolves. He's probably gonna take the Wolf job.
Yeah, probably, maybe.
maybe.
But the Jose Mourinho thing, I love Jose Mourinho. The first years of watching Inter, I watched Mourinho help us win the Champions League. I was very young, so I didn't really know that much what was happening. I just remember them lifting the trophy and thinking, "Oh, we won the league because it's the Champions League," and then it was like, "No, you won three." Like, holy shit! But I love Jose Mourinho. I think it would be hard on him, especially being older, to do two teams. I think Portugal might want to look for someone else. I think Mourinho is a very good coach and club. I think that's the thing that he's good at, especially scouting your players. Like the famous story of getting Drogba, where he's like, where Abramovich doesn't even know who that is, and he's like, just pay, just pay, just pay. I don't know if he would do the same for Portugal, but who knows? Maybe if he left, but I think that could put a more easier thing on his plate. But Junior says to having an assistant manager on both teams that he could trust, I think that could be doable. But it's like, who wouldn't want to see Jose Mourinho? Like that would
Yeah,
actually be his third job because he's a coach for Roma, coach for Portugal, and then he's an influencer.
yeah. Really
Well,
quickly. Well, I just wanted to add real quickly before we move on to the thing. To the next, our next topic was that after the and you guys can add if you guys agree or not, but
disagree.
after the Amazon docuseries about Spurs, I gained like a new love for Mourinho and what he represents and stuff. Because you just see another side of a manager that he's always played up the
A
role
bad
as the villain, and when he left Real Madrid, he left in like really bad terms. So I'm talking as a Real Madrid fan, of course, but and then you go on to see the character behind the manager, and you kind of see like he's actually a really cool dude and real nice dude, and you can see the way that he did things or how he felt and why he reacted in certain ways. So it was just nice to see that. But yeah, it would be interesting to see Jose Mourinho in
Yeah,
that
like you're
position.
saying about his character, I think you've both been players before in soccer, really good players. But whenever you have a coach, I don't know if you've ever felt this, but you could tell if a coach is not being truthful, like lying, like putting on a facade. And I feel like Mourinho was always himself. He would never put on a phase of, "Oh, I'm this guy, I'm this guy." I think he was always himself. And I think even like you said, he was like the villain. I think when you're yourself, it's much easier to like you when you're on their team, when
Well,
you're
can I
part
add
of something.
to that?
But
Because he
wait up,
always
let me
said,
say something else.
"There we go."
I was gonna say that when the documentary of Mourinho, when he's talking about leaving Inter and they show him hugging Thiago Motta, and he says that like it was hard for him leaving because it's very emotional. He spent the career there, won three trophies. I think he's way more of a player coach. I don't think he gets that much credit because he is so tactically smart. But he does both. He's an amazing person from what we've seen.
Yeah.
You're
That's
done.
it.
All right.
All right.
I don't
Talk.
even, wait, my turn. My turn.
Oh, hurry up.
I was just gonna say that it's he says, I don't remember where he says it, but he says that he has always had like a something to fight for because he's like these players like I have to make them trust me because I'm not one of them. He always says this, like I'm not one of them. Like my career was not compared to what they're playing, you know. So
Right.
he always had like to prove himself. He's a coach. He's not a player like them. So he's always had that thing that he's not like we're not the same, but like I respect what you do and you have to respect me for what I do. I'm the coach, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always that thing. He's not like I'm not
You
trying
said
to
that
be like
you said before that you always wanted him at Barcelona, right?
yeah. I would love to see a Mourinho led Barcelona, like what he would do at this, like what type of Barcelona would he make? I think he would like be very attacking. All these teams, like if they're like called defensive, they're very attacking. They score the most goals. Real Madrid, Chelsea, Inter,
Yeah.
Porto,
Chelsea again,
yeah,
When
Manchester United.
yeah, you've been
I
able to
mean
see
not so
when
much.
when when he was given the freedom to actually implement his ideas, what he was able to do. Um, you know
Yeah, and
the
another thing why that Chelsea was seen so defensive is because like I keep saying this, Stamford Bridge, it's so narrow. It's like the field, like it makes you play a certain way. That's why I don't know if you like see the Camp Nou, how much bigger it looks than the Santiago Bernabeu. That's why it's always so wide. Like that's remember when Bale just demolished who was it? Mark Barta,
Mark
hmm
Barta.
because it's so wide.
that
So
was
he
at
just like
the Mestalla.
well, the Mestalla is another stadium that's wide as well, as it's those old school
That's
like
not that wide.
stadiums. Yeah, it
It's
is.
not that wide. It's very tight. It's very tight, dude. It's the most tightest. It's the tightest stadium in
No,
the
it's
world.
not. It's not no Athletic Bilbao Stadium.
All right, let's move on to the next topic.
just title
uh,
this. Just title this. Semifinals and Jose Murillo. That's it.
well, no, I'm gonna title it semifinals and
Hot
Stamford Bridge
takes.
is very narrow.
And Stamford Bridge is the best stadium to play in. That's like,
So
No,
the next
it's
topic that I
a
want to
very
bring
hard
up,
stadium to play in.
the next segment is that the Club World Cup is moving out to 32 teams in 2025, I believe, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
mhm.
So just want to take your guys' take and what do you guys think about that?
What the F is this?
Yeah,
Just another tournament? What the hell? Well, what I had heard is that they want to make it when there's friendlies. So
uh, Junior, what are your thoughts about this?
I can barely hear your mic. It's weird. But I was gonna say that. Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say that it's just, I would have. To me, it just doesn't make sense because it's gonna be more games. I feel like it would have just kept it with those like initial teams that they win. Whoever wins their respective European, whatever international trophy, that they'll make like a little tournament. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
But make it even more teams, I think that's ridiculous.
yeah,
Again, this is my problem with the Champions League as well. They should just be champions. You win a league, you win the Copa del Rey, FA Cup, whatever it is. You're a champion, then you play the Champions League. You got third place, second place. All right, try better next year, my guy.
Yeah, that's
A
a
little,
thing we should discuss later on.
yeah, but it plays onto this. I just think it's gonna be crazy. It's
yeah,
gonna happen because it's not whether we like it or not. This is gonna happen
yeah,
unless they veto it. So it's gonna
yeah.
happen.
Jordan, your thoughts?
At a protest, I'm not gonna watch it. Honestly, I never really cared about the Club World Cup. It's like it's not really that important. Like people who think it's important, but they're trying to make it like a World Cup, but it never really connects because there are less fans, there are less people watching it, and if your team's not in it, you're not gonna care.
Yeah,
So like I think this is more of like just extra money for those teams that win the cups, you know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I don't have a problem with like the way that it is right now because it's the champions of their respective,
Yeah.
the
It's
the
like no one ever argues like, well, Messi has more club World Cups. Like no one really cares about that.
yeah.
Like it's never a thing that's brought up. It's more of like a preseason cup because no one really cares about it. It's like an
What's
Audi
the
Cup.
mid-season cut?
Well, it's
Well,
not.
it's like the Audi Cup. You
Yeah, you just how's that? Like, if your team's not really in it, like you're not really interested in it, you know. Um, I mean, the only time I watch it and when one of my teams is in it, So, um, I don't
But
really.
maybe that adding the 32 teams could add more of it, I guess. More teams, so more fans will be focused on it. But I don't think it's gonna. I think this might be a thing that lasts for a bit, but it might be taken out immediately because they're gonna see from the viewership of it that it's
Yeah,
not gonna do good. Especially if Junior said that
They're not
they're
good.
gonna do it during international friendlies. So then now the teams that go out for friendlies, now it's gonna be like, what players are you gonna take? Is it gonna be the bench players, youth players? Like, I
right.
just think it's a bad idea. I think it's FIFA being greedy for money, like the Super League.
Yeah,
Another again, owners being greedy for the money,
yeah,
which I
definitely.
don't blame.
But they're gonna be mediocre games, like exactly like the Club World Cup is right now. Like the only good games is what the final.
Yeah,
Other than that, they kind of just
and it's
have
usually what
have
like the team from the Copa Libertadores and
against
the
the Champions
European.
League.
So yeah, I don't really understand it. Um, Give me 1 second. I'm gonna check the time.
Like, I didn't even know Chelsea won it until I changed the thing and it showed Chelsea, and I was like, oh yeah, they won it. It's just not important.
We're just at an hour and 5 minutes.
Two-time winners, my guy.
So let me do the.
Oh my
All
god,
right,
so impressive.
all right. Let me
More than
count you guys in.
for what?
3, 2, 1. Okay. That about wraps up our episode for today. Don't forget, we will be doing a live stream for the final on Sunday at 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
We won't do anything for the third place
We'll probably just react that Sunday. We'll start,
during the live stream.
yeah, during the live stream. So
Okay.
we'll be starting at 7:30 Mountain Time. So we'll start
What
about
about Eastern time?
well,
Do
it'll
the
be
mathematics.
6:30, 6:30, 6:30 and 7:30 Mountain
In
Time.
Pacific time.
No, 6:30 is Pacific Time. I don't know what Eastern Time.
Yeah, I was saying East time because for everybody in the USA, so they know. But I guess you could just do the math
If
Mountain
it's
time.
8:30,
because
8:30
I
Mountain
do live
Time.
in
I
Utah.
mean 8:30 Eastern Time, and then yeah, I think that's how it'd be.
Okay.
But yeah, join us for the live stream. We'll be talking before the game. We'll talk a little bit about the third place match. We'll be talking about the lineups as they come in, the tactics that we see the team playing, and then obviously giving our input as the game progresses. Um, Jordan, anything you want to say before we end today's episode?
If you watch this far, you must be a real dummy.
Junior.
Sayonara.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification to get notified for our next upload. See you guys later.